Well, hello, hello. We have a beautiful mid-May day. I'm just on my way out. Hello, Nike. She is our deck chicken who lives on the deck, has her own house, and shares the yard with our dogs and our cats. Just taking my stroll out here to come check on my chickens. This is my Amazon run. It's actually 2 runs put together. Used hose clamps to join them. Conduit clamps at the shed. They have an automatic door on the inside. Right now I have their feeders hung up high because they put a lot on the ground, so they need to eat what's on the ground. But this here is 200 square feet. It's a 10 by 20. Yes, poopy butt. I wrap this up in the wintertime so they have nice dry access. It almost makes like a greenhouse for them. Then this is our extended chicken run. This is approximately 2,000 square feet. They've already destroyed the grass here. It's nothing major. Comes down here, makes a giant L, and then it comes down this way here. It's right within our wood line. Hi, chickies. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just some posts and basically chicken wire. It gives them a place that I can see from inside the house. I can see on the cameras. It's nothing major. It's just enough to keep them contained. They don't try to fly out. The chicken wire is basically about 4 foot tall. I've got some yellow strips tied to the fence so that we can see it at night for the most part. Anyways, that was the original, and then I just opened up this section and then just added this. That's Poopy Butt. He's our big rooster. And then that other one running, that's Junior. But this is our basic, cheap chicken run. Keeps them all contained quite nicely. Everybody's getting along. We just put in 9 babies, although one of them turned out to be a rooster. So I rehomed him because we already have 2 roosters. And there's only so much room inside the shed for chicken keeping. So let me pause this and we'll go inside the shed. Okay, so this is our multi-purpose storage shed. Just basically some household storage. And then we put up a partition wall with a door. That's my gardening corner. That's my chicken corner. So I've got feed and scratch, some DE, pine shavings, barn lime, anything I need. Then inside this door, I've just got some chicken wire hardware cloth. It's just stapled to one side, just makes a little screen. It's a little bit of a mess. I haven't been out here in 2 days to clean. What you doing, sunshine? Hi, Poopy Butt. This is our brooder. We've got 4 babies in here. Yeah, they do have a heat lamp and a brooder plate, but the heat lamp's only because we were down in the 40s last night, and I don't know if the brooder plate will keep up enough out here. Excuse all the poop. I have to scoop poop and feathers. But this is pretty much it. It's wood floor with vinyl linoleum flooring with sand on top. We've got 2 roosts here. Nesting box for 4, and they usually want to use 1. Then we got 2 more roosts here with our brooder box. Everything, like I said, I haven't been out here in 2 days. This is the real world of chicken keeping. And when it gets real hot, this here I can just move. It's just sitting here. They haven't tried to hop over it. Yeah, that's their automatic door. They got a window for ventilation. It's not too bad. It's a good setup. I got cameras all around. Hi, little babies. Yeah, they'll be joining everybody else here in about 6 weeks. They're roughly close to 4 weeks right now. But this is pretty much it. You know, you don't have to go crazy and overspend and go into, Christ's sakes, heck, a mortgage payment for a Carolina coop. That's just insane. You know, you can work within your means. Yeah, this is just basically plywood on the ceiling, gives me a little loft space and stops them from jumping up there. Plus there's a vent up above that. And I said this is just more storage, stuff up in the rafters. It's multi-purpose. You know, I can comfortably fit about 25 chickens back here. Because it's only really for sleeping and laying eggs and, well, obviously brooding babies. Don't pick. But, you know, everybody wants to post their chicken coops and how fancy, and they want to put paint and wallpaper and chandeliers, and, yeah, more power to you if that's your thing, or if you've got that kind of, you know, cash to spend, more power to you. You know, I try to keep it real. So that's all my chickens there. And then, like I said, I have Nike. She lives in the dog yard with the dogs. She thinks she's a beagle. You know, everybody gets along. This is Tizzy. She's almost 15. She's a very old girl. Then there's Honey Girl. And then Sweetie's probably in the house. Watch out, Tiz. There's my Nike. Hi, Nike. She identifies as a beagle. I said, yeah, this is our deck. This is Nike's house. I've probably got more money on this Tractor Supply coop than I do on my chicken run. But it works. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go broke. Work within your means. And we're quite rural. Yeah, we've got, goodness, probably 6 acres of woods behind us. And then we've got acres that are partially cleared over in that direction. Our nearest neighbor is down there. But the most I've seen here was a very, very big possum at night. And I think there's a fox in the area because I lost 2 hens, a bantam last year, and then regular size hen, about 6 weeks ago. That's why I put up the extra fencing, just so I keep an eye on everybody. But yeah, like I said, you know, if you want to go broke and go into huge amounts of debt and have your first egg cost you about $15,000, good luck. You know, you don't have to, as long as it's not an eyesore. That's my biggest concern, is to make sure that my chickens are safe and that everything looks decent and not like a junk pile. But chicken keeping doesn't need to be hard, doesn't need to be expensive. Food, water, protection, and a safe place to sleep. And the back of our shed's very safe. We've got 1/2-inch hardware wire across the floor underneath the linoleum. Goes up the walls. You know, nothing's getting in there. You know, if something from underneath the shed wants to try to chew up under the floor, they're going to run right into the wire. Yeah, and plus with my cameras, you know, I can always dial anything back and see what's going on. Plus have a live view anytime from anywhere, really, with my phone. But again, yeah, chicken keeping doesn't have to be expensive. You do with whatever you can, what's in your means. You know, we live in Western Pennsylvania. Everybody around us seems to have chickens. A lot of people free range them. They don't even have runs. All they have is a coop sitting in their yard. No run, no pen, no nothing. They just let them out. But then I think at that point you're going to be buying chickens every year. So I try to keep them contained, try to do the best that I can for them without putting myself in the poorhouse. So That's pretty much it for today. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine.